large lists, you want to take advantage of a family of functions called COUNTIF, SUMIF, and AVERAGEIF. In this worksheet, we might want to know how many full-time people work here. We could do this by way of a pivot table or possibly a more complex formula, but COUNTIF works quickly and easily. Equal COUNTIF. I'm using this in cell K2, and we're looking in column D for these entries, comma. And what are we looking for? Full-time. Now, if we don't have this in a nearby cell, I do in cell L2, but if we don't, we would type double quote, full, space, time, double quote, press enter, we get an answer. Since it's in a nearby cell, we'll just refer to that. Enter, we have our answer. And we can double click here to copy this down into the next 3 cells as well too. So in all cases here, we have a count of how many hourly people we have, how many contract people, half-time and full-time, quickly and easily. Occasionally, you might want to use this feature with wildcards. It would be probably unlikely you would want to total the full-time and half-time people. You could see what that total is right there. It's 489. But if we were doing this in an isolated case, we could type equal COUNTIF, left parenthesis. We'd be looking in column D, comma, and then double quote asterisk time. Asterisk is a wildcard, meaning any number of characters preceding the word time, and then a double quote, and there's our total, 489. By highlighting these 2 cells, we see the total at the bottom, that's 489. So in effect, we're doing the same kind of thing here, but in a different way. A similar use might be, we're looking at our list over there, we're just kind of curious, how many of these entries contain the letters TIM, like in Timothy here, and maybe there's some Tims. We've got a few Timothys perhaps popping up. How many of those do we have? In that case, Tim is preceded by text. It's also followed by text. So in this example here, if we're doing a quick COUNTIF, we're looking in column A, comma, and then within double quotes, it's asterisk, TIM, asterisk, double quote, and then we're done. There are 9 of them. And we can verify that with a quick use of filter. Just clicking within the data, use a filter, and then jumping into column A, simply in the search panel here, type TIM and press enter. And there's our list of all the Tims. There's actually 1 single Tim and a lot of Timothys. But we've got 9 entries there, and that's exactly what we found in our previous example. So getting rid of the filter, going back to normal here, and viewing this once again. The asterisk on either side means Tim preceded by and or followed by any number of different characters. So you can also use this function in a more expansive way using wildcard type symbols. Now, the companion to COUNTIF is called SUMIF. The idea with SUMIF is we might start off in the same way. In other words, we're looking for people who are full-time. But SUMIF has an additional argument, a third argument that allows us to say, in effect, once we've found the full-time people, comma, let's go get their salaries and add them. In other words, what are we spending on salaries for full-time people? We're looking in column D to see how many of those entries are full-time. That comes out of cell L2 here. And when we do find an entry that's full-time, we go to column H, take that value, let's add up the full-time salaries. There they are, and we'll simply double-click to copy it down there. There are the salaries. We look at the bottom of the screen in the status bar, 41,653,876, and we should see the same number if we click column H. And there it is, identical. Keep in mind the status bar will vary if you right-click it and possibly check or uncheck some of the options found in this section here. I tend to leave them all checked. I don't always need them all, but anytime you highlight 2 or more cells, and that includes if you highlight a column, you will get totals at the bottom, and it's real handy at times to do cross-verification. So, getting back to SUMIF. For years, in prior versions, there was a SUMIF, there was a COUNTIF, but no AVERAGEIF. And a lot of users kept saying, give us AVERAGEIF. Finally, they have. If you don't have an AVERAGEIF, you've got to take SUMIF and divide it by COUNTIF. But it certainly is a lot more straightforward here to say, in effect, let's get the average of salaries for full-time people. And there it is. And here too, double-clicking will get the average salary for our other kinds of entries as well. And so the example here in column K, right here, average if, remember cell L2 has the text full-time. If the entry in column D is full-time, then let's go to column H, and what are we going to do? Average all of those salaries. So we can see how COUNTIF, SUMIF, and AVERAGEIF give us easy ways to tabulate data from lists like this without having to sort the data or rearrange it in any